Okay, so we got the recording. So here's the agenda of what we'll be covering today. So we're going to start off just talking about the career development wheel, so you can kind of understand the process of making career decisions. And then we'll talk about RIASEC, which is a tool that you can use to get to know your interests and like how those might translate to careers. We'll talk about some resources that UC Davis has for career exploration, and then our peer advisors are going to take over and they're going to dig in deeper with more specific career pathways that you can take. And then at the end, we'll have the quiz for your mandatory advising. So make sure you stay till the end until if you have a hold on your account, you can get that removed. We're going to be putting links in the chat, and then we're recording this, so we'll be putting it on YouTube. And then we'll be also putting the slides in the YouTube description when we upload it. Okay, so this is the career development wheel. And so this walks you through the steps of what it takes to kind of make a career decision. This is used by the Internship and Career Center to kind of conceptualize what this all looks like. So this workshop in particular is going to focus on these two first sections, so self-exploration and work research. So before you can make a career decision, you have to, have a good understanding of yourself. So what that means is like your values, like what is important to you in the way that you live and the way that you work, your interests, what is it that you like to do, what motivates you to get up in the morning. Your skills are also really important. So what are your strengths and how can you find a career that kind of plays to those strengths? And then also your personality, how might your personality characteristics influence the type of work you might be interested in doing? And then once you have a better understanding of yourself, work research is the next step. And so we'll be talking about that today. So that's getting an understanding of like what jobs are even out there, like where do you want to work, what employers are hiring, what are the job market trends, things like that. And then the rest of the steps in the wheel, we won't be covering today, but it's nice to know, what they look like. So once you have an understanding of yourself and like the world of work, the next step would be to get some experience. So doing internships, volunteering, part-time jobs, things like that. All of those are types of experiential education. And that can help you kind of solidify your decision and take you to the next like decision-making step in the yellow. And that's where you're actually going to like make a choice of like, what are you going to do right after you graduate? What kind of career are you going to be applying for? What kind of graduate school are you going to be applying for? Things like that. And then once you have your decision made, that's where your job search skills come in. So that's your networking, making a resume, writing cover letters, interviewing, things like that. And then once you actually have a job after you graduate, that's where you have to then manage your career and handle things like office politics, work-life balance, promotions, things like that. One thing that I really want to highlight here is that these are outlined linearly, but they're not linear. Like you are probably going to be jumping back and forth throughout your life and throughout your career between these steps. You might make it to an internship in the blue field, and you might have to jump back to the purple, like, I don't like this anymore. What else do I have that's out there? And that's okay. That's totally normal, something to expect. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on self-exploration to start off with. So RIASEC is what I mentioned at the beginning. This is a self-assessment tool to help you figure out what interests you the most in a career. And so it stands for these 6 categories, and I'll go into more detail about those. But careers are also categorized within these areas. So we have a quick 10-minute assessment that you can do to help you find your 3 top interests that we'll be sharing in the chat. And then once you have your code, you can use the second link to explore some of the careers that might be interesting to you. And I'll talk more about what these things mean. What are these codes? Okay, so this is like a visual of what it looks like. So these are the different areas. So realistic those are people that like working with things. So like working with their hands, you like working with machines, tools, or like the outdoors. Investigative are people that like working with ideas. So you like researching, analyzing, observing, that kind of thing. Then we have artistic, those are our creative types. So that's, you like unstructured environments, you like self-expression, using your imagination, all those things are really important to you in your work. And then we have social, so those are people that like working with people and serving people in particular. So those are like, you like teaching, training, counseling, things like that. And then enterprising, this type also likes working with people, but it's more on the influencing, leading, persuading kind of side. And then we have conventional, which are people that like order. So organization, like working with data, structured environments, that kind of thing. So this is like what it looks like for you. So the people side of things, and then careers, like I said, are also categorized in this. And you're also going to have more than one. You're going to have 3 top, usually, codes. That's what your 3-letter code is going to be. And then this is an example of what different careers might look like in these different interest areas. So for realistic, those are the doers. So that's our mechanics, our engineers, our X-ray techs. Investigative are our thinkers. So those are like professors, doctors, programmers, also engineers. We'll talk about that in a second. Artistic, those are our creators. So those are like advertising, marketing, museum curators, writers, those kind of creative careers. And then social, those are helpers, so counselors, teachers, social work, maybe human resources, things like that. And then enterprising, those are our persuaders. So those are like CEOs, real estate agents, politicians, sales execs, that kind of thing. And then conventional, those are our organizers. So those are like accountants, bookkeepers, office assistants, that kind of thing, people that like the detailed work. And keep in mind that careers are a combination of these. So that's why like engineer is in both realistic and investigative, because there's different types of engineers. They all do different types of things. And they have like these realistic and investigative components to them. So every career is going to be a combination of like a couple of these, or 2 or 3 of these types. So that's the RIASEC. You can use the links that we put in the chat to explore yours. And then Padone is going to talk to us about your Bachelor of Arts versus Bachelor of Science degrees.
Yeah, so as Psych and Cog Sci majors, we do offer both a AB and a BS degree for both majors. And so what is the difference between an AB and a BS degree? There are differences in major requirements between the degree types. For the BS degrees, we require more STEM courses such as calculus and biology. And the major requirements are a bit more structured in requiring courses for certain subject areas and developing specific skills, like, for example, in statistical analysis skills. For our AB major degree requirements, there is more options and flexibility to mix different courses to fulfill different major requirements. So it might feel like you can customize, it feels more customizable and to your interests in particular subjects and skill areas. And so if you are interested to see like the differences between the AB and BS degree types in the Psych and CGS majors, we have a comparison sheet on our Yellow Cluster major website so that you can also review that more in depth as well. So now you're thinking like, and asking the questions like, are there specific jobs or occupations that I can or cannot get due to the degree type that I choose to pursue? Or that do graduate schools care whether you earn a BS or an AB degree? In general, no. It makes little to no difference whether you choose an AB or BS, as long as you take the necessary prerequisite courses for the graduate programs that interest you. An AB degree is usually sufficient if you'd rather not choose a BS emphasis. And so when you're looking at, like if you're interested in graduate school, you should plan courses and co-curricular activities that prepare you for that program no matter what your major is. And this strategy will shape you into a better graduate school candidate than just completing the BS major by itself. And so, it's really kind of dependent on what the grad school is looking at for the candidates to be competitive. And then for psychology majors, you may find that for some health programs, if you're pre-health, like medical school, you can actually efficiently complete like the pre-health requirements by choosing the psychology BS biological emphasis. And so for employers, it's similar in that they care more about your experiences and skills and connections than your degree type. And so we really want to emphasize that whichever degree type you choose to pursue, it doesn't necessarily limit you to certain career fields or graduate programs. It's more imperative that you review prerequisites needed for the graduate program and knowing what skills and experiences you need for the occupation to really help guide you which degree type might be a better fit for you. So it's also important to note that not all majors and degree types necessarily lead to specific careers, but that there are multiple different pathways that can lead you to the careers you want to pursue. And so majors and degree types may be a first step into a direction towards the pathway you are interested in. So we do have a lot of resources for career exploration specific to cognitive and science on our Yellow Cluster website. So yeah, Jalen, next slide. You can definitely feel free to check them out. We'll put them in the chat. And we also have the Internship and Career Center that has great exploration resources as well. You can search up research information by interest areas, and there's also a psychology graduate employment data information that might be helpful for you to review. So Jillian, if you want to go to the next slide too, that's where we would have the ICC information there. Yeah. And then if you are pre-health, there is the Office of Health Professions Advising, which advisors can also support you in planning the pre-health prerequisites. And they also have workshops and events that you can attend to help prepare you for the different health professions. So lots of resources here. The next slide, we will now shift to talk more specifically about like careers, pathways within psychology and cognitive science that you can explore. And Nicole and Portia, our wonderful and lovely peer advisors, will outline all of these different pathways for you all next.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Portia, and the next slide I will be talking about therapy, counseling, and clinical psychology career pathways. So for clinical therapy careers, we have a few listed, such as marriage and family therapist, professional clinical counselor, and so on. I'm just going to touch on a few key ones that might be of interest to some of you. So for marriage and family therapist, this is therapy focusing on the family as a unit. So this is a bit different from the professional clinical counselor because the PCC, short for professional clinical counselor, focuses more on therapy on the individual level. And some other careers are social workers. So these are people who focus on therapy and counseling for people who are in vulnerable populations. So that might be the youth or elderly or people who are experiencing housing insecurity. Some counseling adjacent careers are working in university settings, such as a career counselor. These people can also provide advice about how to get to certain career pathways or provide information about how to boost a resume. So these people can work in either like business settings, school settings, or even open their own independent practice. And on the bottom, we have a website to our Yellow Cluster page about these specific career pathways and descriptions about them, what kind of education you would need to get to certain places, and also what kind of pay or career outlook you would have per career, which will be on the second tab right here.
Yeah. I'll just demo this really quickly. So if you are interested in some sort of therapy and counseling career, we do have a ton of information on our website. that I linked earlier. It's the Pathways to Therapy and Counseling Careers link. And so all of these different careers have their own kind of graduate school requirements and options, but we have a ton of information here. So there's links to like descriptions, salary, grad schools. We also have like comparison charts of like the different master's level pathways, the different like doctorate level pathways if you wanted to do clinical psychology, things like that. So visit this website that I linked earlier if you want to explore this a little bit further.
Yeah, so on this slide, this is about like industrial organizational psychology and human resources careers. So IO psychologists focus on human behavior in a workplace setting. So this has to do with how to optimize a work life or implement training for new employees, things like that. These are primarily business focused, so they don't really work with individuals to resolve mental health or social problems, but more so about how to make the business of an office flow more smoothly. So some examples of this could be a human resources manager or a staffing and recruiting manager. There's even research that can go into this about like specific like theories or research that could improve a workplace setting itself. And next slide. Back to the healthcare.
Hold on, technical difficulties.
No worries.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so some example careers in the healthcare and medicine field. For example, a psychiatrist is a pretty popular career choice for psychology majors. These are medical doctors, so you would have to attend medical school and residency for this. But these doctors primarily evaluate, diagnose, and treat people with mental, emotional, or behavioral disorders. Another example of a healthcare career is a nurse practitioner, and something specific could be like a psychiatry nurse practitioner. So these are people who attend nursing school and get additional medical training in the psychiatry field, and they would work under psychiatrists to like help prescribe medication and also provide other psychiatric health services. So like Adele mentioned earlier, we do have the health professions advising that could help you determine like what classes to take specifically or how to plan your academic plan for your pre-med or pre-health trajectory. We also have health-related internships and health-related exploration career pathways. So if you're not sure what specific career in the healthcare field you would like to do, you can click on some of these links and find out like specifically what would gain your interest more. All right, so for education, teaching, and academic research, we do have a few careers in the K through 12 education and teaching career pathways. So this is becoming like a teacher in a school or a school counselor or school psychologist. So a specific example could be a school psychologist are psychologists that get a PhD or a master's, and they would focus more on school theory and how the school system works so that they could better set up a system that benefits the students and helps them navigate it more easily. And they also look at more intervention services for like behavioral issues. School counselors are similar to school psychologists. However, they require just a master's degree, and they don't really focus on the system of the school as a whole, but more so individual students and guiding them in like educational and career plans, and also like different assessments to help them zoom in on what they want after high school or after K through 12 education. And there's some links at the bottom for a K through 12 job search. So these are looking for specific career pathways in that field. Within higher education, you could become a professor, a lecturer, or even like an academic advisor. So we as staff advisors and peer advisors would fall into this category as people who work in a higher education setting to help students like find different career pathways and advise about different majors and degrees. And there's also a link at the bottom for jobs related to higher education.
Okay. So I will be going next. My name is Nicole again, just to reintroduce myself. But so the next few fields that I will be talking about are a lot more broad. It's not necessarily related to psych and cognitive science, but definitely you can be using these classes for these areas. But you can definitely like pair it like psych and cognitive science like with like another major with under those like fields, because those are like you can get the classes you need to like get into that field. So this one is business and management. So some fields that you can get into are through accounting, advertising, marketing, and public relations. And it's kind of similar to like the human, like industrial organization and human resources careers, but like these careers are more focused on like managing and marketing rather than like direct human like interactions. So a good like major to go with this would be like man econ. And so the links provided in the business and finance occupations and management occupations, those are basically like links that give you a more gives you a list of the jobs and more like descriptions about it, and like the education that you need and like the salary as well. Yeah, so next slide. So the next one is communications and media industries. So I mean, you're directly communicating to people like if you want to get into becoming like a journalist or like a public relations coordinator or a like social media director. So obviously like having a communications major is good for this. And there are a lot of people who do pair like psychology with communications as a double major. So, and another one is like media industries. So if you want to become like an art director or graphic designer or industrial designer, you can definitely, there is definitely options for those. And if you're like a design major as well, like, or if you are interested in like design, then you can definitely like double major with that. And I know that a lot of cognitive science majors with computational emphasis, they typically are paired with design majors, just because of like, especially for UI and UX design, which I'll get into now. Okay, so yeah, there was like another link before in the previous slide, but it was just like providing like the ICC links towards communications and other like media job resources that you can get into. But yeah, so now we're moving on to tech industry and data science. So as I mentioned before, UX UI design is another one, and there is a lot of AI careers now because there's like so much technology now. And other examples would be data analysis, data administration, data administrator, engineer. So for data science jobs, a lot of people would pair the cognitive science computational emphasis with like computer science or also design as well. Data science is more about like coding and just like interpreting data. And so the links for the data science and IT, and as well as like computer and IT, those are just additional resources that you can use for like if you're interested in a specific field. Yeah. So the next one is law. So you can obviously like becoming a lawyer or attorney is a potential career, as well as like a legal assistant, which is basically you provide like research and you just like supporting the lawyers with like the information that you find about like whatever case that you have, and then you also like meet with the clients as well. And other careers related to law besides becoming a legal assistant or a lawyer is like being a legal advisor, a judge, or like a court advocate. And UC Davis, we do provide services for pre-grad or pre-law advising. So if you're interested in getting to law school, you can also go there, and then through the advising, you can either get in through appointments or drop in if you have like quick questions. They also provide workshops and webinars about like law school. And then there is also more information that could then provided for like law and public policy careers, like just more information about what each career, which career could be under that, what career could be under those fields. Sorry. And now I'll be moving on to public policy. So public policy and government, it could be either through your city, your county, your state, or also like they're a federal like career. And so public policies, you're basically looking into like governments and like policies and just like other like political like trends or like issues relating to that. And then government as well, some examples would be becoming like a county or a city official, a public policy administrator, or a foreign service agent. And there is more information with the ICC about the potential careers about through government and public policy. And a good major to go with this is like with political science, and political science does have like certain emphasis too. So you can also get into so you can also like focus on something that could be useful for your career.
Right. So we went through our workshop a little fast. So if we do have a bit of time for some questions, if you all have any. It does go until noon, but for those that are first year transfer students that have an advising hold on your account, this is now the time that you can take this mandatory advising quiz to remove that hold. And so if you are first year transfer, take this quiz, you must get a 4 out of 5 to remove your hold, and you can retake it as many times as you need to. One also great announcement we want to make is that Jillian and I will be teaching a career exploration course specifically to psych and cog sci career pathways. And so this course is actually only open to first year transfer students. And so if you are interested in that, we are teaching it next quarter, and we do have the CRN right here if you are interested in signing up, registering for it. It is a 2-unit course, so definitely do that. And Jillian, if you want to go to the next slide, we just have a survey for you all to help share any feedback you have for us for our workshop today. What can we improve, or any other workshops that you might be wanting us to put on. So definitely please help us by filling out that survey. So since we are at the end of our presentation, I think we can take some questions if there are any questions.
There was a question about the syllabus for our career exploration class. We don't have a finalized version of the syllabus just yet that's ready to share, but we'll be going over like these interest assessments and different like kind of career assessments, personality tests, and how they might relate to your career. We'll also be having like guest speakers from pre-grad advising, and we'll be going over networking, resumes, cover letters, things like that to help build your like career development portfolio kind of thing, and a professional development plan. So it'll be about like digging in a lot more deeper to you specifically and how these careers, like which ones you might be wanting to explore